Hi everyone, my name's Lena and this is Tarot Down Under. So I'm bringing you these readings from Australia. So I was inspired to do this series of readings largely because of reaction to Trump being elected. And so like millions of people all over the world, we're all wondering how this inarticulate, pussy-grabbing con man got to be the leader of the free world. So because this is quite a scary situation in many ways, and certainly challenging, I've been inspired by some of the amazing political tarot readers who have emerged. So here's a shout out to the goddesses out there, and that includes Kirsten Langston, Third Eye Champagne, it's Tracy Brown and Sean, who I'm sure won't mind being called a goddess. There's also Tarot Politics more recently, and Three Hoodoo Sisters. They're all excellent readers, and so they're helping us all cope with what's going on. So I'm going to launch into it now, and moving on, I'm going to adjust the camera so you can see the cards. Okay, I was thinking there's a long list of readings I intend to do about Trump and his family and the administration and the Mueller investigation. But also, I was thinking, what am I going to do for the debut video? The very first one off the ranks. So I thought it might be fun to do a reading on the Trump family at Christmas. It's very close to Christmas. So what's going to be going down for the Trumps? Okay, so that's what I'll be focusing on in this reading. I'll be doing a version of the Celtic Cross to see what's happening. Okay, so let us start. The signifying card. Oh dear. Tears before Christmas pudding by the look of this. This card means, I would suggest they're all stressed, and they should be. It's not going to be pretty as an event. So given that this is the core card for the reading, it'll be very revealing what happens from here. Okay, so the essence of the reading, or the issue confronting them for Christmas, involves the Two of Wands. Now the Two of Wands, wands or staffs, represent willpower. Basically, it's a card that has also been referred to as the housekeeper, if you like. So this is a more worldly figure than many of the Trumps themselves, looking to the future, holding the world in their hands. So at this point, early on in this reading, we'll see who this does refer to more specifically. So what's the energy acting on this issue? Oh, this is interesting. Here, the Nine of Pentacles, money, 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 money. I've done a lot of readings in the last few months around the Trumps and their administration, and this card often comes up for people who work for Trump. And if you look at the figure closely, I don't know if you can see on this webcam. So on the one hand, this is somebody who's had a good education, who is quite sophisticated, but if you look very carefully, the robes are actually too big. So symbolically for the Trumps, it's like they've gone from being high flyers in the world of megalomaniacs to not quite being up to the task when it comes to the White House and big problems facing the world. So if you look again more closely at this card, there's a hedge behind here, and often things are hidden behind the hedge. So underlying this reading, oh, the Knight of Swords. This represents hasty decisions. It can also be hasty revenge. So I'd imagine there'd be a great deal of discussion at the Trumps over Christmas about getting back at people. I mean, this is a clan who does not take responsibility for anything. And so already they'd be planning revenge on the media, or revenge for any Republicans who don't support them, or revenge for Democrats for being alive. Hasty revenge. So this is how they deal with the stress, remembering the stress, which is at the heart of all this. In the recent past, conflict. Now you have to be aware that in tarot, recent past could be 2 days ago or a few months ago, but in the spot of recent past, we have conflict. And what's interesting about this card, there are other tarot cards about conflict, but if you look, everyone's fighting everyone else. There's no real pattern to it. There's no clear winner. It's just about an ongoing battle of everybody with each other. So I don't think it's a big leap to assume from this that there's a lot of infighting. And Christmas is the time when the infighting comes out. Now this is the overarching card for the reading here, the King of Wands. Now this is one of two cards that comes up for Trump. One is the Emperor, the other is this card, the King of Wands. Now in a positive reading, the King of Wands tends to be someone who's very brave and who has very strong convictions and is deeply motivated to help other people. And again, we can safely assume that's not Trump. So Trump in himself, the more negative aspects of this card in the context of the reading are someone with exaggerated ideas of the self. A card of the ultimate narcissist in power. So that's hanging over the atmosphere of Christmas. So moving on to the near future. And again, I have to stress that could be in 2 weeks' time or 3 months' time, but it's fairly new. And it's a card of many things, actually. So it can be a card of deception, of blind choice, of following things blindly, of not being able to choose between two paths. But in any event, the key thing is the blindfolded figure. Can you see that there? So with the Two of Swords, the figure is acting not through accumulated knowledge, not through the intellect, even though normally swords represent the intellect. There's a blindness to it. Okay. So how does the family see itself in the big scheme? I love tarot. It's the Tower. It's the big collapse. You could call it Trump Tower. So already Trump has had to take his name off Trump Soho because people don't want to stay there because he's such a pig and an imbecile. So they're beginning to realize themselves that they're in big trouble. And this would be borne out by the key card of the reading, that they're worried. This means, regardless of what they're saying to themselves and each other and their little nuclear family branches, the Tower. Basically, the game is up. That doesn't mean they'll be gone very quickly, but it does mean it's big and it's coming. Okay. What's acting on these forces? Oh, remember I said two cards that represent Trump, the Emperor and the King of Wands. Ooh la la, there they are. Now Trump, when he took the role of president, actually misunderstood the role. He thought it was Emperor. He really thought he could kick back over breakfast and, I think, order people to be sacked or even beheaded in an ideal world. He loves autocrats. He admires the strong men throughout the world who don't bother with all that wishy-washy democracy. So this is Trump as Emperor, and he's presiding over the collapse of the Tower, the regime, and the family. So it's all there. What's the bigger environment that is acting in relation to the Trumps? Oh, it's Christmas. Let's look at nostalgia. Let's look backwards when everything was lovely and we were just rich and we didn't have to think about anything other than what we were going to wear today and what can I spend money on and how many workers can I exploit because I'm a Trump. So those were the good old days. So what is running through the Christmas experience is it used to be better before Daddy got this new job. So here we go, nostalgia. The outcome. This is the short-term outcome, the Queen of Wands. So like the King of Wands, the Queen tends to be an older person. This could possibly be Ivana Trump, the mother. Lest we forget Ivana. She's the mother of these particularly vile children. She's not an insignificant player. We don't hear much about Ivana, but nonetheless, if you're talking Christmas, you are talking about their mother, you are talking about Trump's first wife, and you are talking about the grandmother of the children. So my first impression of this card is that Ivana, who also comes up in my readings as the Queen of Pentacles, is going to play a bigger role. Okay, so Ivana is not past tense. I think she's come out of hibernation and I think she's going to be a much bigger player, even though that might mean behind the scenes. So going forward a little further, more swords. So here we have the Four of Swords, a very interesting card in many ways. Traditionally it's read as being about retreat and thinking about things because swords are the intellect and ideas. But it also has a more sinister and dangerous meaning, if you like, which is you're hemmed in by swords. If you get up from that prone position, look out, there's some swords waiting to stab you. So I think in terms of the collective, this reading, the family, they all have to watch this. Okay. Business as usual, they are the master manipulators. They're going to keep the balls in the air. They're going to keep pretending they haven't colluded with Russia. They're going to insist that they be taken seriously, but unfortunately they're going to become more clown-like in their protests. So although they might play well in the heartland, the Trump heartland, it's not going to play so well with the rest of America. Okay, so this is the card of the manipulator. Further, Christmas at Trump's. I'll make this the last card for the reading because it becomes progressively exciting and you can go through an entire pack. But the Three of Pentacles is a very interesting card for several reasons. I call it the card of a price for everything and everything has its price. So you've got these two figures who are dealing with engaging a master mason. How much does he want to be paid for a commission and so forth? So it's about wheeling and dealing, but it's the only card in the tarot deck that depicts the pentacles or the coins in black. So for me, it also represents black money. So if I put these cards together, for me, it's a continuation in terms of how the Trumps think about themselves, is as long as we keep muddying the waters, keep the balls in the air, we'll keep denying everything, truth and lies, we'll survive. And this card would indicate they're still making money illegally as we speak. So at this point of my first tarot reading for YouTube, it would become apparent for some viewers, I suppose, that if you like Trump and you really think he's a nice guy and who lies awake at night thinking about how he can help the coal miners of the Appalachians, I don't think this channel's for you. But if you want to look at what's going on in depth, in some ways, I think you might enjoy the series. All the best from Australia. Bye now.